It was a tranquil morning. My search and rescue team and I were organizing our gear, particularly climbing and navigation equipment. Suddenly, the static noise on the radio shattered the morning calm, and our captain received a distress signal from the mountain. A woman had lost her way from her mountain climbing party and failed to return by nightfall, hoping we could rush to assist the search. Consequently, we swiftly prepared our equipment, commenced our search and rescue mission. Riding in the truck to the end of the forest road, we dispersed along meandering trails to search. There was a slight unease in the air, but I couldn't pinpoint why. A thin mist hung over the entire valley. The further we walked, the further the surrounding silence accompanied us. By nightfall, we set up tents and ignited a campfire in the wilderness, hoping that if the woman was nearby, she would see our light. Deep into the night, we heard the roar of wild animals from outside the tent, with the sound coming from afar. We looked at each other, nobody willing to go out and confirm the source of the sound. In my heart, I silently prayed for the lost woman, hoping for dawn to arrive early so that we could continue our search. Before sunrise, we awoke and prepared for departure. One of the team members heard a faint sound. Although it seemed unlikely anyone was in that direction, we were willing to take a look. Influenced by that faint sound, we descended the mountain to search. After hours of strenuous hiking, we finally spotted the lost woman from afar in the afternoon. She was lying at the bottom of a cliff, beneath a waterfall, a shocking and terrifying sight. We couldn't believe she had ended up in such a dangerous place. When we rappelled down to the base of the cliff, we found she was already lifeless, although looking as if she was just sleeping. Though she had passed away, we couldn't carry her from the bottom of the cliff. We had to wait for the support staff from below the mountain to transport the necessary equipment. By this time, it was already getting late. Hence, we decided to camp there and wait till the next day to transport her remains down the mountain. Therefore, we set up a temporary camp and stayed till the next morning. That night, we felt even more acutely the loneliness of the mountain and the death knell seemingly devouring all sorrow from the depths of the waterfall. During that long night, when we had all quieted down and even the sound of the waterfall's flow had become subdued, an unusual occurrence ensued. An apparition of a woman, looming outside our tent, bathed in an eerie blue-white glow. We could all sense her presence and felt intensely her fear and helplessness towards the world. At that moment, time seemed to freeze. My team and I were all in a state of panic, holding our breaths, our heartbeats echoing in the silent valley. Panic and terror surged like a raging river, as if our hearts were falling into an ice pit. With wide-eyed stares, we each tightly gripped the hand of our teammate. The strength of our mutual hold seemed like our only sense of stability. It felt as if we were witnessing everything beyond the human world, an absolute void that held a terror that no language could accurately portray. However, even in this situation, we knew we had to remain calm. We needed to confront our fear and protect each other. Doing my best to compose myself, I boldly declared out into the tent's exterior, "Miss, we have come to rescue you. We will get you safely off this mountain. Please trust us." In the most soothing tone, I spoke to the spirit of the woman. I reassured her that we meant no harm and were only there to facilitate her descent from the mountain. I informed her we had been searching for her all day, and we were willing to be there with her for the final part of her journey. I tried my best to keep my voice steady and firm, hoping the spirit of the woman would sense our sincerity. Despite the fearful atmosphere that instantaneously filled the tent, we knew we had to persist, for her and for us too. I spoke into the darkness, hoping to comfort her soul. Just after I finished addressing the spirit of the woman, she seemed to dissolve comfortingly into the night, leaving behind the darkness outside the tent and profound silence. This silence was more intense than anything we had experienced before, and we all felt a sense of peace, as if matters were gradually drawing to a close. Early in the next morning, I could hear the voices of the first responding team members from within the tent. They brought the rescue equipment and helped us steadily lift the woman's body. Although the descent remained treacherous, we clutched the stretcher handles tight, determined to transport her safely down the mountain. It felt as though she was with us during the journey down, which made us acutely aware that even at the end of her life, she wanted someone to accompany her. After we successfully brought the woman down the mountain, everyone was tired from the days of search and rescue, and we all retreated early to our respective homes. Exhausted from the several days, the moment I laid down on my familiar and warm bed, I instantly fell asleep. In my dream, I saw the woman again. Her face bore a bright and warm smile, showing no signs of pain or distress. She smiled at me, nodded gently, and then thanked me. Her voice in the dream was so melodious, surpassing any music of our real world. "Thank you," she said. Her smile blinked in the dream, and then vanished, leaving me alone in the quiet night. I knew that our efforts were not in vain. We had helped a soul find the peace and liberation she craved. In the days that followed, like the dream that night, her smile and thanks echoed in my heart. I remained grateful for the journey, no matter how enormous the fear that accompanied it. Everything we did was to assist a life in finding its deserved rest.